Well, this morning I wished everyone a good morning, Sacramento, so now I'm saying good afternoon, Sacramento. Okay, there we go. It's wonderful to have you all here gathered on the steps of the state capitol, and I'm delighted that you are joining us for such an important event as we are bringing up the critical subject of organ and tissue donation education in our high schools. This morning I announced the great news that we are approaching 5 million designated donors in the state of California. And before I go on, let me introduce myself. I'm Brian Stewart, president of Donate Life California, but like I said this morning, this isn't about me. This is about you. This is about our state, and this is about the people we serve. Those 5 million designated donors have come largely through our partnership with the Department of Motor Vehicles. They have been our reliable partners. They have been incredible support from the director all the way to the field, to the clerks in the field offices, and we thank them for that. One of the interesting things as we developed our relationship with the field offices is that we go in for feedback. We want to know that Donate Life is meaningful to them, and we want to know we're serving the residents of California that rely on the DMV for their services. And whenever we ask for feedback, one of the things we hear reliably every single time is some of the confusion that first-time drivers and their family members express when they are presented with the donation decision on the DL-44 form. That is the form where question 7 is, do you wish to be an organ and tissue donor? The fact is that a lot of kids learn a lot of information from ER and from Grey's Anatomy, but aren't necessarily learning the facts about organ and tissue donation, how the process works, and how they can participate in this life-changing mission. So we are here to talk about a solution to that ongoing problem. And here to introduce his legislation and speak on behalf of this important milestone opportunity is the sponsor of SB 552, Senator Alex Padilla. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, and really thank you to all the volunteers that are here today. The success of Donate Life California isn't possible without the thousands of people that are involved. I also want to take a minute to thank Roy Grimes from the Sacramento Unified School District Board. He'll be talking in a few minutes about the successful efforts that we've seen in some of the Sacramento public schools. But on a statewide basis, we know that the online donor registry that was established about 4 years ago is already responsible for having saved 300 lives. And through the, absolutely, round of applause, and through the tissue registry, we've impacted another 15,000. So that experience rings loud and clear. We have learned the value of organ and tissue donation and registry in the state of California. Now, last year, through this partnership with the California Department of Motor Vehicles, there was about 8.5 million driver's license applications that were processed. And a solid 23% of applicants checked yes to that important box. And while that's going to be helpful, imagine if more people were better informed, better educated about what this meant. That's exactly what SB 552 is going to try to improve upon. If we are successful, we will incorporate information on being an organ donor into 9th and 10th grade health classes. All it takes is 15 minutes to give young people the information they need to make a good decision. Now, since 2006, we recognize that 130 California high schools have taken it upon themselves to incorporate this type of education and information. And while that's good, that only covers about 10% of high school students. With this bill, we'll ensure that every high school student in California will get the information they need. It makes perfect sense to incorporate it. It makes perfect sense to incorporate it into health classes curriculum. We also want to make sure that given the state of the state's budget, that we don't burden schools with another fiscal obligation. And so another round of applause for Donate Life California, who's willing to provide the materials necessary so that this can be done at no cost to schools. And while this bill is a great idea, by no means is it a new idea. It's no coincidence that in the state of Iowa, where this is in place, the state of Iowa leads the country with a 67% donor designation rate. In the state of Washington, where high school education is in place, they participate at a 54% rate. In the state of Ohio, 53%, also a state where the high school education component is in place. So where does California rank? California's participation rate, as I mentioned, is 23% right now. Imagine what our numbers will be, because we're in the lower third right now, what our numbers will be with this in place, and how many more lives we'll be able to save, and how many more people we'd be able to touch with a better quality of life. That's what this is about. I'm proud to be the author of the bill, and I thank all of you for helping not just registered donors, but talking to my colleagues in the Assembly and the Senate and helping me line up the votes for this bill so that we can get it to the governor, get it to his desk, and get him to sign SB 552. Thank you very much.
Just like Donate Life California has partnered with the Department of Motor Vehicles, we see this legislation as being an important step to partnering with our schools, our school districts all across the state. Important will be the support of people that lead our school districts. So here to speak about his support of SB 552 is the president of the Sacramento Unified School District, Roy Grimes.
And thank you, Senator. First of all, let me say that the Sacramento City School Board does not officially have a position on the bill. I'm appearing here as an individual in support of the bill right now, and I will be taking the idea for support to the board at a later date. But
That's what
as a former teacher, you know, our job in the classroom is to, you know, to get our students to become more informed and to make better informed decisions. And I think when it comes to this idea, it's part of our job, or at least in the health teacher's job, to assist those students in making better informed decisions. In making decisions, students learn early as they become adults that decisions are very important and very difficult to make. As they apply for their driver's licenses, when they become old enough to do that, they discover that they have a choice that they can make. They can check a box or not check a box. And it's important that they realize, as through an education process, that there are some choices that can be life-saving. Organ donation. There's a lot of information out there that students receive from TV shows, but it's very important that, I believe, as an educator, that they receive reliable information that's research-based, that's standards-based, that's tied back to the classroom and to schools. The good thing that the Senator mentioned, that obviously we've heard that this will be no cost to school districts, as the curriculum will be donated by the organization. So that's a good thing that really deserves an applause, particularly in this time that we're going through with budget cuts. You know, the whole process fits with the California health standards, or the California standards, teaching standards. It fits within those standards. So it is standards-based. It will be standards-based, and it's something that I would certainly encourage our board. I will be encouraging my board, and also as a delegate to the California School Boards Association, I will be encouraging them to look at taking a position in support of this measure also. Thank you very much.
Organ donation education in California high schools is nothing new. In fact, since 2006, 130 high schools across our state have generously welcomed Donate Life California and the organ and tissue recovery organizations into their classroom. They've done it voluntarily. They've done everything from having 6 straight periods of anatomy to entire school assemblies of 500 students or more, all because they feel that this educational opportunity is critical. Of course, that wouldn't be possible without the support of the teachers that invite us into their classrooms, and one man who's been an advocate of donor education in the classroom in the Sacramento area is Carl Chapin. Carl.
Like he mentioned, my name is Carl Chapin. I am a 21-year veteran educator in the Elk Grove Unified School District. I am a health educator now teaching at the new Cosumnes Oaks High School. I am the proud recipient of the Golden State Donors Services 2003 Community Partners for Life Award in the individual category. I am also proud to say that because of my 17-year relationship with Donate Life California, I have been involved with about 9,700 students receiving information and education in regards to organ and tissue donation. I have the easy part. I just contact Golden State Donor Services. They bring out the guest speakers and do all the good stuff. So they've done an outstanding job. As a health educator, I feel it is extremely important that all health students get information on organ and tissue donation. Please join me and support SB 552 so that this very important message can get to more young people in the state of California. Thank you very much.
Now, of course, our goal with this legislation is simple: that every high school student in the state of California receives reliable information about how the donor registry works, how the process of organ and tissue donation works, and of course, all of us wish that those students will check yes at the DMV, and after that, live very long, very full, very healthy lives. That's more important than anything. But as we all know, that isn't always the case. And every once in a while, someone is struck down way before their time. And that's when, up to this time, it usually falls on the parents to make the decision for their loved one. And the great thing about the Donate Life California registry is it's an opportunity for a young person, for a parent, for a grandparent to make the decisions not only for themselves, but for their families. One mother who saw her son's life cut way too short is one of our Donate Life ambassadors, whose son became one of the very first registry donors in the state of California. To share her story and give us an example of courage in the face of adversity is Nancy McAfee.
Thank you so much. I'm here today to share with you about a choice. Our young adults should be allowed to make a well-informed, well-educated choice. Choices about their life, choices about their future, and choices about what I like to call what-if tragedy. Most parents don't take the what-if tragedy conversation past their concerns, their worries, and their rules. Unfortunately, tragedy doesn't follow our rules. And most certainly our young adults feel that tragedy will never strike them. I know, I experienced that firsthand. But fortunately, my son was educated and well-informed about his options by his anatomy teacher, which enabled him to make a profound choice. The choice of the gift of life in the event of the loss of his life. On November 10th, 2007, at 3:20 p.m., my son was in an automobile accident on his way to work. Upon his arrival at Marshall Hospital, he had a brain scan and was evaluated very intensely. The news was grim. My son was diagnosed brain dead. At that time, my husband and I were informed that Jordan had registered to be an organ donor. Jordan had registered at the time he received his driver's license. He was 18 and legally able to make this wonderful, generous commitment. In retrospect, I remember Jordan talking to me about organ donation. He was so very passionate about this commitment and disappointed that I didn't share his opinion. My husband and I were so moved by our son's most brave act of giving the ultimate gift on that April 1st, 2008, in celebration of my birthday. My husband and I went online and signed up as donor register to donate life, to be an organ donor, with great pride and honor. Jordan saved 3 lives that I know of, one of which was a 25-year-old woman that had a 6-month-old son when she received one of my son's organs. I truly believe this is the gift. In closing, I would like to share with you Jordan's most favorite Bible verse. Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends, and Jordan did. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Organ donation not only has an impact on high school students as potential donors, but as recipients as well. It's fairly rare, but altogether not all that uncommon for someone in their teens to find a sudden need for a life-saving organ transplant. Here to share their story of how organ donation has affected them and the importance that they feel this issue has to people their age are liver recipient Indra Machaka and her sister Zulma Machaka.
Good evening, everyone. I was 17 when I got sick, and I was only a senior. I was going to start my senior year in high school, and my world turned upside down in a second. When they told my parents that I needed a transplant, and my sister found out about it, they were kind of shocked because they didn't know what it was that needed to be done in order for me to live. And luckily, I received the liver. 3 years later, I fell ill again and was in need of another transplant, another liver, which I received on January 14th, thanks to someone who made that decision. If I would have had those 15 minutes in a health class, I wouldn't have had all the questions that I had when they told me that I had received a transplant. Neither would my family, because we would have been informed. But because that's not something that schools teach, it was really hard for us to understand what we were going through. Since that affected us so much, my sister and I took it upon ourselves to teach our peers about organ donation, and we took it to another level. I'll let my sister explain a little bit about what she did, because it was her, and I'm really glad she did.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us and listening to our stories. Thanks to Donate Life, I have my walking miracle next to me, my earth angel, and my sister. It was a very traumatic experience that I had to go through in order to learn what organ donation was, and I don't think it's fair for others to learn it through their loved ones passing away or in need of an organ transplant. There isn't an age limit, and that's what we all need to understand. And as high school students, it's very important to know what decisions we're making. One of the first adult decisions is to choose whether to become an organ donor or not through our driver's license. My sister and I took it upon ourselves to teach our peers about organ donation and what it means. We shared our story, and we told them how to register if they were interested. Teaching students doesn't mean forcing them into becoming organ donors. That would be great and it would save a lot of lives, but it's pretty much making an informed decision and becoming an adult. Organ donation means a lot, not only to my family, but I know so many others. The first transplant my sister received was within 24 hours of her name being put on the transplant waiting list. It's a miracle. It truly was a miracle because some people passed away waiting for a transplant that someone couldn't decide upon. So it's so important to teach our generation just to become informed about the decisions that we're making and what a great impact we can make on others' lives. One person can save up to 8 persons' lives, and it's not only those 8 persons, it's the families that are affected. If I would have lost my sister, my family would have fallen apart, and I know so many others that feel the same way. Please consider organ donation and support this important issue. Thank you.
Two high school students that have become Donate Life ambassadors of their own and seen the importance of educating their peers about organ and tissue donation are from the Sacramento area. I'm proud to introduce Austin and Elise Ellison.
Hi everyone, like was already said, I'm Elise Ellison and this is my cousin Austin Ellison, and we are both students at Folsom High School. Thank you. And we're Donate Life ambassadors. And about 4 years ago, my 10-year-old cousin Connor, who's his brother, got diagnosed with a liver disease, and that's how we got introduced to Donate Life. And through this, being teenagers, one of our biggest goals is to educate other teenagers our age at our high school about how to make an educated decision when it comes time to receive or renew your driver's license.
Senator Bill SB 552 isn't just another bill. It's a bill that can save and change lives of many, many people. And that's why it's important to start educating teenagers in high school, in 9th and 10th grade, before they get their driver's licenses, to teach them about organ donation and the importance and how it changes lives. I know that without my brother, I probably would have never thought about organ donation, and I never would have become a Donate Life ambassador. And because of it, I am able to learn more about it and teach all my peers about it. And today I was speaking to a group of teenagers here at the Capitol, and I was talking to them about the importance of organ donation. And it turns out that none of them really cared what I was saying until I said, what if the tables turned and it was your mom or your brother or you that needed an organ and received it? Would you give it? And would you be compassionate to the person who gave you life? And that completely changed their minds. And I think that it's important to teach these people before the time comes when this decision needs to be made by the family, because it's important for them to know what they would have wanted personally. And that's why it's important to support Senator Bill SB 552. So please help us. Help us teach teenagers in high school the importance of organ donation. Thank you.
So SB 552, potentially the beginning of a new chapter in the history of organ and tissue donation in our state. And it's an issue that has broad support across the public. Recently, Donate Life California commissioned a telephone survey of 425 households, and they were trying to identify people that weren't on the Donate Life California registry, whether they knew they weren't on the registry. As it turns out, a third thought they were on the registry, and almost 90% of them thought it was because they had a pink dot sticker or their donor card. Okay, point of fact, if you have a pink dot sticker or a donor card, you're not registered. So get registered. But more importantly, we also asked a question about whether they supported organ and tissue donation education to first-time teenage drivers. Of those who identified themselves as organ donors, 84% supported that kind of education. And of those who declared themselves non-donors, they still supported it by 63%. Okay? So, and among all of those respondents, 47% gave strong support. So the fact is there's broad support for this issue statewide, and we see an example right here in front of us with this banner, which was signed by thousands of people this past weekend at Cal State Fullerton at the Donate Life Run Walk. So I urge all of our legislators to support an issue, and I know expense is an issue. Donate Life California is as aware of that as anyone else, but you know what? This is an also issue that, as the former Deputy Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Kenneth Moritsugu, said, it's the right thing to do. SB 552, let's make it happen. Thank you.